Hi book friends! Today I'll be reading Curious George Goes Fishing. Let's see how it goes for George. Are you ready? Let's begin. This is George. He is a good little monkey and always very curious. One day, George was playing with the string when he saw something funny. He saw a long string on a long stick being carried by a big man. What could the man be doing with the string on a stick? George was curious. Oh, do you see the long stick and the long string? And the big man is carrying it somewhere. And there goes George with his string. He is very curious. Do you see the birdie? Oh, he's so cute. The man was on his way to the lake, and soon George was on his way to the lake too. George watched the man put a hook on the end of the string and a piece of food on the hook. Then the man lowered the string into the water and waited. So there goes the man walking to the lake. Do you see the lake? The water? And there goes the long stick and the long string with the hook and the food in the water. And now he's waiting. And so is George. When the man pulled the string out of the water, there was a big fish on the hook. What fun it must be to fish. George wanted to fish too. He had a string. All he needed was a stick, and he knew just where to get one. George ran home as fast as he could. Oh, so it looks like the man is fishing with the long stick and the long string. So the fish caught the food and got stuck on the hook. Wow, and he has another fish in a pail there. And George is excited, so he's running somewhere to go get a stick. A mop would make a good stick. George tied his string to the mop. Now he was all set to fish. Or was he? Not yet. George had to have a hook, and on the hook, something that fish like to eat. Fish would like cake, and George knew where to find some. But where could he get a hook? Why, there was a hook on the wall. It would have to come out. Oh, so he found a stick from a mop. And he found some cake. Oh, I love cake. Do you eat cake? And look, he found a hook. And he's trying to pull that hook out. With the hook on the string and the string on the stick and the cake in a box in his hand, George went back to the lake. Oh, so George is ready. He's ready to fish. He has his mop and his cake and his hook. Let's see what happens. He put some cake on the hook and lowered the string into the water. Now he had to wait. Would he catch anything on the end of this string? George was curious. Oh, so there goes George waiting by the lake. Looks relaxing. And the froggy is looking at George fish. I wonder if George is going to catch a fish. Let's see. The fish were curious too. All kinds of fish came to look at the string. Big fish and little fish, red fish and yellow fish and blue fish. One of them was near the hook. The cake was just what he wanted. George waited. The string shook. Oh, do you see all the fish? There's the yellow fish and the red fish and the big fish and the small fish. And look at this yellow fish. Oh, he wants the cake. But when George pulled the string up, there was no fish on the hook. And there was no cake on the hook either. The fish took the cake and swam away. Well, if George could not get the fish would not get the cake. George would eat it. The cake was just what he wanted too. He would find another way to fish. Oh, so that yellow fish that we saw, it only grabbed onto the cake and didn't get stuck on the hook. So George did not catch a fish. But now he's eating cake by the lake. George looked into the water. A big red fish with a long tail was so near. Could he reach it? Could he catch a fish without a string? George got down as low as he could and put out his hand. There goes George. He's reaching down to the fish. Splash! Into the lake he went. The water was cold and wet. George was cold and wet too. This was not fun at all. So George thought he was going to have some fun fishing. And there he goes, into the water, reaching for the fish. When George got out of the water, his friend Bill was there with his kite. "My, you are wet," Bill said. "I saw you fall in, so I came to help you get out. Too bad you did not get a fish. But it is good the fish did not get you. Maybe now you can help me fly my kite." George was happy to help. Oh, so there goes George out of the lake, and look, he's dripping wet. Ooh, he might be cold. And look at that beautiful yellow kite. Oh, have you ever flown a kite on a windy day? Oh, it's so much fun. It was a windy day, and soon George was dry and the kite was flying high. He watched it go up and up and up. What fun it was to fly a kite. It would have been fun to catch a fish on the end of a string, thought George. But flying a kite on the end of a string was even better. Oh yeah, George has that right. Look at that long string that Bill is holding. And that kite is flying high in the sky. And there's even a doggy looking up at it. And there goes George and Bill. And they're happy, flying the kite by the lake. And that's the end of Curious George Goes Fishing. Yay! It didn't work out for George, did it? But he had a friend, Bill, and he flew that kite with him. So it turned out to be a great day. I hope you like this story. Until next time, bye, book friends.